Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Moosie Drier, and today we have a true TV icon. He's been a reality TV personality, he's done wrestling, boxing, and was a longtime radio host. He's the author of the memoir Random Acts of Badness. He was one of the stars of the popular sitcom The Partridge Family, and no lie, he's one of the guests that my daughter has been most excited about in the history of this show. Please help us welcome Danny Bonaduce. Danny,
Wow.
thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Hey, listen, just as we get going here, I got to get something out of the way, and I hope it doesn't affect any future questions or things you might want to know or say about me. But my life from 1974, when the Partridge Family went off the air, till 1988, when I started a very positive radio experience for the next 35 years, there were from 1974 to that point, there were literally mountains of drugs and rivers of alcohol, and I'm hazy on a bunch of stuff. But I had a question, Moosie.
Yeah.
Didn't didn't I live in your guest house for a while?
There must have been a mountain of drugs because yeah, you absolutely did. We all
Okay.
lived together, and I have some great memories of you.
Good. My question it would be then: was I decent to be around? Was I okay to be around? Because
Oh,
I'm really hazy on those days.
well, okay, you were everything from an absolute perfect gentleman to an asshole and everything in between.
Oh,
And
so nothing's
I
changed.
love every version of you.
Thank you.
I'm not kidding.
All right, beautiful.
You know what? If you guys don't mind, Jonathan, Danny, but it's my perception of Danny Bonaduce, right? Yeah, so I was a child actor back then and whatever, and I was working on something at the Columbia Ranch, I think it was used to be called, but
Yep. Yep.
the Warner Brothers Ranch, where you did the Partridge Family.
Right.
Before I knew you, I look over and here's this undeniable, colorful Partridge Family bus, right? And I was already a fan
Oh
of the show.
yeah.
And there you are with Dave Madden, Reuben Kincaid.
Love that, man.
Who do I want to be? What is my acting approach or whatever? And I always remember it's like that guy. You were the first best smartass on TV. You were the best. You like genuinely, I would watch you and just think like that's who I want to be. Probably never told you that when we were, growing up together. I was a kid and
No. Yeah.
you don't mature enough to like give praise. You made it watchable.
See, I told you Reuben would stick up for me.
The name is Mr. Kincaid, and I agree with your mother.
Shot down by my own kind.
We naturally get all these questions about former child actors, but we're all here and you're here. And I'll tell you why. Because
Okay.
you own everything that you did.
Yes, I do.
You fell on your face as far as personally as terms of drugs and all
More,
that shit.
more than once, my man.
You've picked yourself back up. You got on terrestrial radio, and I don't have any research in front of me about this, but like I'm going to think Philadelphia, Chicago, Seattle, L.A., and not in that order, but like
Yeah. Good
you.
enough, man.
And I was directing a show for Comedy Central with Adam Carolla right around the time you were on the radio with him, and I don't mind that if Adam hears this. I could tell like he was threatened by how good you were on the radio.
You are completely right.
Now that I've just kissed your ass so much, and I mean it, just to balance it all out. When you were pretending to play bass on the
Yeah.
Partridge Family, no, I'm looking, going, no.
Nobody thought I was playing. Nobody would have thought I was playing. Let me tell you a story about that with the bass playing. First episode of the Partridge Family. We're supposed to be at Caesar's Palace. We're actually at the Hollywood Palladium, and the hell's that guy? I can't believe I'm gonna. He does Folsom for Johnny Cash. There we go.
Uh-huh.
Johnny Cash says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Partridge Family," and the curtains open, and we're frozen solid with fear. And finally, we get to do it, and we're playing "I Think I Love You," our first and only number one hit.
Mhm.
And in the middle of the song, or at the end of the song, for dramatic, David Cassidy turns to me, a 10-year-old Danny Bonaduce, and looks at me and says, "You don't strum a bass guitar, you pluck it. Do you think you can pluck it, kid?" And Johnny Cash walks up on stage, puts a finger to David's face like this, and he turns to me, I'm 10 years old, and he goes, "You're going to be fine, kid. You'll get it." And walked off. And That's my very nice Johnny Cash story that I like very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, America's latest success story, the Partridge Family.
How many people have that story,
No,
that kind of encounter?
So here's another question for you. Are you wearing a Partridge Family t-shirt?
Hell yeah. And
When
I tell
will
you what,
mention it.
it's not when in Rome, and Danny's coming on, so I'm going to get this. I mean, I have literal proof. 2 years ago, I wore this on a podcast. I'm a fan, dude. Are you the third one?
Let's see. Shirley, David. I'm pointing to Shirley, David, Lori, me. I'm the purple partridge.
Yeah, there you are. The purple partridge. That's what I always call you.
Is my Partridge Family t-shirt here? I feel left out. I want to wear one too. Where are you right now?
I'm in LA. Jonathan's in Florida, and you're in the desert.
I'm in Palm Springs. That's correct. Give me one second. Hang on.
Absolutely.
If somebody wants to go, why don't you been working out? That'll be fine.
Wow, you've been working out.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Had your chance, you bastard. All right, hang on.
What do you got there? All right, okay. I mean, be happy. I know Jonathan has one too, but his daughter has it.
My daughter has mine because my daughter is I was a big fan growing up, and I'll echo what Moosie said. And this is, I swear on everything, my friends and I always used to talk about, there was no better child actor there. And I say, and I hate saying it because you were just incredible comedic timing, and the delivery with Dave Madden and everything, it was just incredible. It's like, this is not a kid.
When you're as flattered as I am at this very moment, it's probably rude to agree, but we were doing something like a Comic-Con or whatever it was. And in 3 different occasions, Shirley Jones said this: well, if it was funny, Danny Bonaduce was doing it. And I thought that's an Academy Award winner who said that. So
yeah, love her. But you know, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's not just the funny that you brought. Also, like, you were given this character, or maybe you helped form this character who was always the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy as a kid?
Yes, it was all weird.
Yeah.
I always describe the Partridge Family. I said that, Reuben books the family into somewhere that's, incompatible with, not up to their standards. Keith falls in love and gets them into further trouble. Danny saves the day at the end. That's the end. That's the episode.
Most of the episodes, man.
This may be the first time a whole family ran away from home.
Mr. Kincaid, this whole contest was your idea. I hate to point that out, but I'm a rotten kid.
Yeah, I know it was my idea. And I'll figure a way out. Believe me, I'll put my mind to it.
We need a lot more help than that.
Did your mother ever tell you to look both ways before you cross the street?
Of course.
Too bad.
So you were so young when you auditioned for it. So can you walk us through the audition process a little bit, what you had to do? Talk about the moment when you realized you'd beaten out hundreds of other kids for that role.
Well, it was, I don't remember specifically the deal with my mother, and everything to deal with me being in show business was with my mother, not my dad. I remember there being a mini bike on the line because we knew I wasn't my first gig, the Partridge Family. I'd done like some Bewitched and a couple other things. So I went into the audition, and auditions were, I don't know what they're like anymore. I haven't done one in a really long time, but you'd walk into a room, and for lots of other auditions as well, you'd go in and there were fake redheads, like the worst dye jobs you ever saw. And their moms in the waiting room was drawing freckles on their face. Wow. And so those guys, I just assumed were crazy and didn't get the job. But I got the job. I was very happy about getting the job. I did get the mini bike, but I remember, I think this is what clinched it, because I didn't know the character Danny Partridge, what he was about. I got 2 pages with lines on it. That's all I knew to audition with. And they said, Jerry Paris, the director of the Dick Van Dyke Show, he said, do you think you can be comfortable with Danny's real over-the-top interest in money? And I looked at him, I'm 9, 10 years old. I said, here's the problem with that. Everybody gets the quote wrong. Everybody thinks money is the root of all evil, and it doesn't say that. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And to be honest with you, I love money. They cracked up and gave me the job. So that was it. And yeah, I beat out, according to legend, 400 other kids for that part.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I mean, you're one of those actors. You were a character that it's absolutely impossible to picture anyone else as Danny Partridge.
Thank you.
I cannot. There's no
People
way.
tried.
No, you just killed it.
Do you remember a kid actor named Gary Dubin?
Yes.
He played, well, I forget what his part he played, but he was up at the job and he almost got it. Because if you look at the part, nobody has red hair. I don't look like anybody else in the show.
Right.
So they were going to go another way, but he came this close, but I got it. And, you know, it's something that changes your life. You know, I'm the guy from the Partridge Family. No matter what happens, you're the guy from the Partridge Family. And, but I'm cool with it. I think it's pretty great being the guy from the Partridge Family. I mean, I made my living in radio, but you know, being specifically that guy from that show it's just a fantastic thing that just stays with me forever.
This guy right here, I thought for sure I was going to die because we booked a Miller Lite commercial in the 80s with Elle McPherson. And Danny and I call each other like, yeah, you're on it too. I'm on it too. And you picked me up on a freaking moped. And it was dark and rainy, and it was pre-helmet law, and we're going to the Hollywood Bowl to get on a bus, you know, for an hour-long bus ride to a lake. Do you remember this?
I remember that was directed by Alan Arkin.
Alan Arkin, and his son Adam Arkin was also in it. Dude, I remember being on the back of a moped of Danny Bonaduce in the rain, in the dark, thinking, well, no, I'm not going to live to tell about this. This is it. This is it. And the headline's going to say Danny Bonaduce and friend. So you grew up in a television family. Of course, your father, he was a successful writer. What, he worked on the Dick Van Dyke Show, I believe?
Yeah, that was his first show. Then he worked on did you do an episode of California Fever?
No, but I'm on hold.
My dad was the producer of that show, and
oh, no kidding.
He had a lot of young stars in it. I thought maybe I had heard that you were in it, but maybe not. So anyway, my dad's a very successful writer. He starts with the Dick Van Dyke Show and
wait, Bewitched.
Bewitched he had not involved in. I was involved in. I played, dig this, as in actor world, even though I was 8 or 9, it's still a good compliment. I did 2 episodes of Bewitched in the same year, but played different characters. That's a real compliment, you know, that they bring you back.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
On the other hand, you know, it's the same show. They had 2 Darrens, but
yes, I do. We had 2 Chris's.
Yeah, I'm going to put this up on the real screen, you know, whatever. But Aaron sent me this this morning. There you are. You're with Aaron's sister Diane.
Can I be a jerk for 1 second? You got to see this. This is my lovely wife, Amy.
So this is.
Look at that.
So cute.
That's your husband and Aaron's lovely sister, Diane.
That's so cute.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, great jacket there, Danny. Great jacket. Nice. So back to your father. So he wrote for the Dick Van Dyke Show.
And he produced and wrote for One Day at a Time. He wrote several episodes of, I don't know. He's wrote a lot. He was very successful in his day. Not as successful as his boy, but successful nonetheless. Right. I dug that when you were introducing me, you used the word icon. I actually got in an argument with my wife last night, whether or not I was technically not last night, I'm sorry, a long time ago. I actually got in a fight with Amy because she said I was something. And I said, hey, I'm an icon. So I really appreciate it. Moosie took my side. I'm still an icon, honey.
I would concur. Yes.
Right. Jonathan, I'm going to have to I'm going to sit here, go to our third question. I feel like I just keep monopolizing, but that dude's an icon.
He is an icon.
It's the Moosie Drier show, though. You're allowed to ramble on. Jonathan's here to support you and me.
No.
What do you got, Jonathan?
I disagree.
Well, it's his show. But before I go into anything else, I also read that you went to school with Michael Jackson and Brando's son, Christian.
Yep. Yeah.
How was that experience? I mean,
well, Michael, I'd known Michael since about when I met Moosie. I met Michael on a stage. He was filming something on the Columbia lot. So we both had Stingrays. So we rode around for a while. I knew him then. Years later, I've been expelled from the entire California district for going to school. So I can't find a school that'll take me. I finally find this weird place called Cal Prep. And I see Michael again. And I've seen him, and, you know, he was a pretty big star at that point, not what he would become, but he's a pretty big star. And I just kind of held back a little bit. I said, nice to see you again. I don't know what he said. But one day he was walking to the office, and I was walking probably out of the office because I was in trouble for something. And he's walking by, and I look at him and I said, Michael, I've known you forever. How come you never speak? And he said, because I'm in constant remembrance of God. And I said, well, that's cool, but what about chicks? And that was the last time I talked. It was my last words to Michael Jackson. Oh, no, they weren't, because he invited me up to his home, me and my kids. So I spoke to him again, but that was it for high school. Hey, what about chicks? Boom, gone. Gone like a ninja.
Like I said, I was a huge fan growing up.
Thank you.
Not just saying it, I said great timing and everything. And I'm going to say also that my daughter has gone through the series several times straight through already. And you did a cameo for her when she turned 16.
Hey, Maya, it's me, your old friend, Danny Bonaduce. Good luck going to high school. It's a weird time, but it's great to remember it forever and make some very cool, happy memories. I'm going to let you interview me. Ready? Oh, what was my favorite episode? It was the one with the skunk. Oh, did we really play our own instruments? No, we sure didn't. Of course I didn't sing. Listen to this voice. Now you know more about the Partridge Family than any living human being. Have fun at school.
And she loved that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. And you still go around signing records, I see, on your Insta all the time.
Oh, that was my wife's idea. We were at some record shop. She's a vintage collector. I would show you her collection if I knew how to move the computer without hanging up on us. But we're in a record store, and she comes across a Partridge Family album, which is not rare. They're not hard to find. But she said, hey, it'd be funny if you signed this and then put it back for somebody to find. And so I did it. And then I thought, that is not only vandalism, that's vandalism I signed my name to. Are you crazy? But it turned into like this big, people really like it. They go hunting for the records. We just did one in Indio, like way out in the desert. And people get a kick out of it. They go find it. So once again, tell us where we are.
Rocks and Records.
Downtown Indio.
Very cool. Oh, let me sign this and put it back.
The Hollywood stars tour buses, vans, or whatever. They're like, go tour celebrities' homes or whatever.
Right.
I remember you pulling up next to them and going, hey, have you seen anybody famous? And they would just like go crazy because Danny Bonaduce is asking the people
It's so funny.
Oklahoma.
I still do that.
Do you?
I mean, it was here in Palm Springs because during a thing called Modernism Week, there's a bunch of people going around looking at stars of old movie stars' homes. But here's the thing. When I did it with you, people went crazy. When I did it with me, they went, no. It's like, hey, man, I'm that guy. You have to remember me. You would be thrilled to meet me.
What's funny is I remember, so we would go to a lot of places, but when we would go to, remember Magic Mountain, right? Still there, actually. It's like up in Valencia, California.
Right.
You and my sister Dee Dee, who I know you were close with, and and whatever, handful of us would go to Magic Mountain, and you taught me kind of, whether you intended to or not, you kind of taught me about celebrity, because once in a while I'd get one or two, people like, hey, are you on the Bob Newhart show or whatever, and like, I don't know, up to me. We'd go to Magic Mountain. We'd go to Magic Mountain. What's that?
I said, Moosie Drier, Kid News for Kids from the Rowan and Martin show. I thought you were great.
I don't care about that kid. I'm talking about you. We would go to Magic Mountain.
Okay.
A hurricane of people would follow us because of Danny. And I remember just observing you and watching you. How many celebrities did we know when we were a kid? But when I was with you in public, everyone's following you. And you handled it well. And I think that the world really cheered for you when things got a little funky.
They're more than a little funky.
And you came back. Anyway.
Can I make an observation that's mildly serious?
Sure.
Thanks. Whenever you reference, I'm talking specifically to Moosie right now, whenever you mention being an ex-kid actor, you follow that with whatever. You shouldn't be so dismissive of your past. You were great. You didn't just do an okay job. You were terrific. And you shouldn't just go, or whatever. It's a great thing. And you should be very proud of yourself. I'm doing this podcast with you because I'm a fan. I grew up with you too. So
Thanks,
here's my advice.
I think Moosie's co-host has said the same type thing to him in the past. I just want you to know that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. I throw my own self under a bus. I don't know why that is, but I thank you, man. I thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, back to how awesome I am.
Yeah, Jonathan, how awesome is Danny?
Plenty awesome. All right. So let me ask also. I just wanted to, at that point, were you aware of Shirley Jones, who she was, and some of the other actors on there? Were you a fan of it, or like knowledgeable that they already had big careers in movies and things?
No, and aside from Shirley Jones, who had already won an Academy Award for, I
Right.
think, Elmer Gantry. And so I was aware that she won an Academy Award, but no, I was not aware of anybody's, and I wasn't, to be honest with you, really aware of anybody's talent. It was, the way they did single camera shows instead of like they do like Friends, 3 cameras in
Right.
front of an audience. We do 1 camera, and every shot has to be, here's your close up, here's David Cassidy's close up, here's a clip of the whole family. Like you'd take days and days to do one scene, but they would hand me my pages and I would memorize them and I'd be ready. And that's what I remember at first. Not, I was 10, so I wasn't quoting Sir Laurence Olivier at the time, but his method to acting is try not to bump into the furniture and know your lines. That's the way I roll. I show up ready to go. And I was all full of myself. But then I got to know David Cassidy, and later in life, I got to go on tour with him in 1990.
Right, we're gonna ask.
So like I was arrested for something or other, who knows? And because it wasn't a single event. But anyway, David Cassidy calls me up and he says, Bonaduce. And I'm like, how often does David Cassidy call me? And he starts, when we became friends, he'd call often and he'd start every single phone call with this, Danny Bonaduce, you got me on the go. Danny Bonaduce, and let's put on a show. That's how David said hi every time. But he said, listen, you're the funniest guy I know, but now you're becoming the joke. And I'm thinking, you're a little bitty guy to be talking to me this way. But then I think, oh, he's got a point here. And he said, listen, I want you to come on tour with me. And by the end of the tour, you'll have a job. And I thought, well, okay, great. Let's do this. And he said, but here are the rules. There's no drinking, there's no smoking, and there's no women on the bus. To which I said, I'm not going. Who would agree to that? But I did. And damn if that guy wasn't right. At the end of the tour, 1998, we're at some radio station where I was. David didn't go that morning. And I do the show for like a half hour or whatever it is, answer the questions. And I'm about to go on my merry way. And I step out and there's the program director and the general manager. And they say, you were great. And I said, thanks. They said, would you like to stay? Yeah, I'd like to stay. And here's the thing. And this killed me. It was so funny at the time. They said, listen, and they're apologizing. They said, we only have 75 grand in the budget. Is that okay? And I looked at them and I tried to be cool. And I said, yeah, okay. I'd never seen $75,000 my whole life. I don't even know where I was living in 1998. But the most shelter I had was in David Cassidy's bus. So I was beside myself with this. And sure enough, David Cassidy, he said, by the end of the tour, you'll have a job. And I did. I was a disc jockey right then and there.
Man, and you were great.
Thank you, buddy.
I mean, really, man, you were so entertaining. I mean, I would go find you when you were in other cities, because you can do that online.
Right.
But at 95.5, I believe, KLOS, that's what you were on in LA. Every morning, man. Every morning, I listen to you.
It's a good job, man.
Best thing about it. Your best thing about the show.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So now I'm the best thing about the Partridge Family and the best thing out of the Adam Carolla show. I'm just the best thing, apparently.
But easy does it there, handsome ginger. You are the third best thing about this podcast right now.
Fair enough, buddy. Fair enough.
So, do you remember? Like, I grew up to really appreciate David Cassidy. I know we were just talking about him.
As did I.
Like, really have an appreciation for him. I don't feel like you always did. There was a little contentiousness, I think, when you were doing the show at one point.
What show? Partridge Family?
Partridge Family, yeah. Okay. And I think I'll tell you why. Because we were at Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor.
Oh, I remember Farrell's with the zoo and the.
And you ate the trough of ice cream, and the waiters and waitresses come around when someone does that and said, "Danny here has made a pig out of himself. On the count of 3, he's going to make his best pig impression. You're supposed to say oink,
right?
And you yelled out David Cassidy." So I kind of think I remember, like, maybe it was just that week you were pissed off about something or whatever. Like, you guys were family. I mean, it was like a brother to you.
He was like a brother to me, but then brothers have contentious. Plus, I think only my wife knows this, not because it's a big secret, just because it's so inside. But you know, when you have dressing rooms, they're a trailer, and there are three dressing rooms per trailer. And I didn't want to be considered one of the kids anymore, like Chris and Tracy. They didn't do anything. They never had any lines. I had a bunch of lines, but I was in the same dressing room. God, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I made a guy that was doing construction somewhere cut a door between my dressing room and the dressing room next door, so my dressing room would be twice as big as the kids. Man, that's shitty. And I never went in there. My clothes weren't in there. There was nothing in there. I just had a door that said, I'm twice as important as you kids, which, by the way, I hold to. You know, it's kind of shitty, but I'm way better than those two kids. God bless Suzanne Crowe. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, what do you know? I mean, you're getting all this attention. You're a kid. You're testing the boundaries. Hey, whatever, Bob, put your cigarette out and cut me a door right here. Or whatever.
That's exactly what happened.
Fuck.
And I think his name was actually John.
John.
But aside from that, you had it.
Yeah.
It's so cool that we're sitting around in our Partridge Family t-shirts.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I know. I mean, I love this. I got this. Yours
is faded, man. I can see it's gotten some wear.
Yeah. I was wearing it on as a guest on a podcast. And it wasn't even just this one, although Jonathan, I probably have worn this here, right? I got more comments about this shirt when I did this was like 2 years ago than anything else. Just I'm gonna stop kissing your ass, but the last thing is like everybody loves this. They love to go back to it. They just love to go. It's a comfortable family to visit every time. Yeah. So David Cassidy blows up though, right?
Yeah.
He's got the hair. He's got the hair, right? You remember when we'd show up at the studio because I went in with you a couple times, and there's like girls on the sidewalk just kind of just waiting for him to drive into the lot, or waiting all day long for him to drive out. And I'm sure they were waiting for you too. But like, I mean, right? It's kind of nuts. It was nuts.
It got crazy. They actually, at some point, David Cassidy, I guess he wouldn't call because there weren't car phones or cell phones at that point. But on more than one occasion, because the lot is surrounded by ivy on gates, and more than one occasion, they just cut a new hole in the gate to let him in the back because the crowds in the front were hysterical. And there was FBI around us for a while. There was an actual kidnap threat against David that that they looked into. The cops looked into, and it was serious. And they had to travel around with FBI agents for a while. Yeah, he blew up. He certainly did.
I mean, was John the same guy who cut a hole for your dressing room to the gate? No.
Probably, actually. Same guy with the saw. That's all I know.
Yeah, one guy with a sawzall.
What were some of the most surreal or bizarre moments from during those years, whether you went on tour with David or like, on set or something, just some of the crazier things that you remember?
Well, this one involved the entire Partridge Family and the director of photography, Hugh Jackman. I was a kid, man. I was a kid. Things were going my way. I was a kid. I got $7 a week allowance, and I had a mini bike. Things were going my way. And apparently, I was acting like a dick and was kind of unaware of it. There's a scene, you won't see it on TV, I don't think. I know it was in the bloopers reel. I'm trying to do my line over the breakfast table, and Susan Day dumps a gallon of milk on my head in the middle of the scene. And I stopped for a second, and I'm about to be flipped out, furious, and I realized, oh, this is endearing. She likes me. But so I've been called out about my behavior more than once. And all of a sudden, I thought it was some kind of bit, but they put me in my chair, said my name on it, and the pictures of the Partridge Family and all that cool stuff. And then people from out of nowhere started running in with duct tape and rope, and they tied me to that chair. Now dig this, because I don't even see how this is even legal. So they tied me in the chair. Then Fred Jackman hoists it into the air, maybe 10 feet in the air. All weird, all fun and games. And then they left. And this is how I remember it. They all went to lunch and came. I think they were startled to see me still there. Like I should have gotten out of this, or someone say, I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, and I'm floating in the air on a Danny Partridge chair. I didn't get out and let me down. So that was some of the, because we did pranks on each other. Not big ones like today, like the prank show ones. But the coolest thing of all was I could go to Dave Madden, Reuben Kincaid. I can go in his dressing room and smoke cigarettes like a grown-up, not hiding anywhere, talking about Reuben Kincaid, about doing TV and being an actor and how important we all are. So, stuff like that. And then I went on tour with David, and David and I, starting in 1990, became really good friends. It was really weird and exciting to go on the road with him. So I'd been on the road with him about a year. And then even after I started making money in radio, if he asked me, I would go back and do it again. And one day we're sitting there, and there's no two ways about it. David Cassidy is staring at my wife's boobs. There's no two ways about it. This is definitely Keith is staring at my wife's boobs. So finally, and not in a threatening way, because David was not a big guy. You could scare him pretty easily. But I go, hey, are you looking at my wife's boobs? And he doesn't even look up. He just goes, yep. And then walked away. I thought that was significantly cool. And I think Amy's still thrilled about it to this very day. And that was 20 years ago.
I love that he owned it. Yep.
Owned it. Didn't even look up. Just went, yep. And then walked away.
That's awesome.
Can you talk about Dave Madden? Because everything I read also is that he was like a big father figure to you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And you had like kind of the cast a little bit. Shirley and Dave became kind of like a surrogate family to you for real.
Well, here's the thing on that. It wasn't always just because of the kindness of strangers. I was holding stuff up because it was not a real rarity for me to show up to the set with a black eye. So when Moosie referenced growing up without a father, that might have been better. But if I'm a cat, not all the time. My life's not a torture thing, but for that one. And one day I came in and I was missing a front tooth. And I can't remember if Dad did that or Age did that. But whatever it was, we put in a chiclet, got the scene done. It came out and then they sent me to a dentist. But after that, people started taking me home. Now, you can say because they love me, but I was kind of a pain in the ass. There's also nobody has to wait anymore for makeup to fix my black eye or my broken tooth if I'm with them. So Dave Madden became like my best friend, which is weird because I'm 10, 11, 12, 13, and he's a grown man. But I stayed summers at his beach house and nothing went wrong and life was great. But I would tell you this, he decided it was time that I learned to drive. He had this cool little Fiat convertible. And I couldn't read the paper, so I sit on his lap. We're going up Malibu Canyon because he lives literally on the water. You can't get any closer to the water than Dave's house. And we get to the top of Malibu Canyon, and we start going down. I'm driving. I'm steering. I can't do the brakes or the gas. I can't reach them. But I'm steering, and I'm doing this, and all of a sudden, Dave grabs his chest and goes, and pretends to have a heart attack, which at first I knew Dave Madden does tricky, weird stuff, man. So I wasn't paranoid. But then we start going faster and faster. And when they're going to the turns like this, Dave Madden's going, bam, and banging his head against the window. And then bam, it's way over here. I mean, you have to brake. We're going to die. And he didn't. He put on the brakes at the very end of Malibu Cabin. And that is how Danny Bonaduce learned to drive a car, from going 60 miles an hour down a dangerous canyon with Dave Madden, who has lost his mind at several different times. One time we were having dinner at the world famous smokehouse, or lunch, I don't remember, but this was later on. And it was in the Partridge Family days, though. And Dave, they seat me, and there's no chair where Dave would sit. And he said, that's all right, I'll stand. And that was all funny until they brought his chair, and he didn't take it. He ordered and ate, standing up, and then walked out after he paid the deal. And he did stuff like that. When he was touring as a comic, that we're talking about Reuben Kincaid, Dave Madden, when he was touring as a comic, he'd stay at these, cheap motels that were, in a budget then. And you remember, you guys all might be too young for this, I'm not sure. Do you remember the paper band they would put around the toilet so they could show you that it's washed by housekeepers?
Yeah.
100%.
Dave Madden would take it off and then put it back on for his whole stay so the maids would never think he peed. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know why that was important to him. But Eaton's standing up, and he said this to me. He said, I just want them to think I'm a lizard. Okay, well, you got your wish, Dave.
I don't know what that's about, the toilet thing, but like, the standing up and refusing a chair at Smokehouse is kind of Jonathan Winters kind of crazy or something. I never knew that he was that, not crazy, but like bizarre. Maybe he was just having fun or whatever. I don't know.
He was just having fun. Another thing people don't know, he was a stellar magician. Like, I did some magic, but they're big mechanical tricks. When I was a kid, I did a stage act, and they're big. You put the right level and the lever, and the magic would happen. Dave Madden could hold a coin right here in front of you, And then you just flip it over, and when you flipped it back, it had changed dates. And I never, to this day, I don't know how he did that. But Dave was, to get back to what you were saying, a real influence on my adult life was,
Excellent.
how to behave. And I didn't go as far in some ways as Dave Madden, but I went certainly far in other ways. I'm sure Jonathan is well read on that. Moosie referenced my book. If you look at my book, Random Acts of Badness, which you can't buy, so I'm not plugging anything. If you look, I'm holding a National Enquirer, and there's a bunch of different quotes. Danny Bonaduce living on the streets, Danny Bonaduce addicted to this. All of those are real quotes that actually came from the National Enquirer. When I look back at that, I go, what the hell? How do you have that many quotes about being a dick in just one little magazine? But I think I held a record for a while until Dana Plato came along. Again, R.I.P.
Dana. So, but why can't, what's going on with your book? Why can't someone buy your book?
Because that's from 25 years ago or something.
Okay. Okay.
No, I just didn't want to, because I want to tell a story about it, and I just didn't want to pimp anything, because I literally have nothing to pimp. This is my entire day, and then I go to a guitar class today at 5.
And then you're moving back in with me, right? Later, you and Amy.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. Let me bump up my insurance, and we'll be...
Fair enough, man.
Did you have with Jeremy, the drummer, the interchangeable little white kids, the drummer? Did you have like contentiousness with him? What was that? I think
everybody had content with him. He was, in my estimation, he was a terrible kid. Always doing, he didn't know his lines. He wouldn't practice the drum, whatever it was. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. One day we were at the table reading. We're all sitting around. Everybody's being a grown-up because everybody's got a job to do. And he kicks me under the table, and being a true Bonaduce and a scion of my father, I just reached up in the chair and blasted him, and down he went. And he came up bleeding and crying and screaming, and I felt pretty good about it, to be honest with you. But then it happened another time or two, and then finally they said, "Well, one of these guys has to go," and luckily they picked him. Yeah, it wasn't contentious; it was physical violence, and he did not. He wasn't good at it. I was good at it.
So, take this within the spirit it's intended, but Danny Bonaduce's on the show, and he's the asshole kid?
No, that's...
I didn't even think of that. And yes, Moosie, yes.
Wow.
Well, yeah, but I'm an asshole who shows up prepared and ready to go. He's an asshole.
You brought the time. We'll put up with you.
Right.
That's bring the good.
Yep.
Well, guest stars were what? Who? Richard Pryor.
Help
me out, Jonathan. Who else was
Mark Hamill, Farrah Fawcett?
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's first television gig.
What's he doing?
He's hoping he'll see Laurie. It's the old, "Hi, Laurie, what a coincidence. I just happened to be passing by" trick.
Some coincidence. Guys in love are crazy.
Oh, hi. Just happened to be passing by. Is Laurie here?
No, she's at the dentist.
Oh. Well, that's where she said she was going when she broke our date, but I just thought something might be wrong.
No, not exactly. The dentist is gonna
give her a checkup. I'll have to call you when she gets in. Thanks. Well, see ya. See ya. Bye.
I ended up doing a movie with him years and years later called Corvette Summer. Had a small part.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So Richard Pryor, who just made everybody nervous. The Partridge is a really white family. And, this guy, and I wasn't that aware of him, but other people were, and they were kind of nervous. And he would, in a complimentary way, I guess, say the N-word. And we're like the 5 whitest people in the whole wide world, and somebody's screaming the N-word, maybe in a positive way. He's not mad at anybody. It's just the way he talks about, well, that N over there. And even me, I was a little N. I was like, whoa. But he actually did his job. He showed up on time, did his lines. Lou Gossett Jr., when he had hair, was on the show. Farrah Fawcett. I think all the Charlie's Angels were on at one point or another. But the one that I remember was called Whiplash Willie was the name of the show. And he was suing us because we hit him in the bus, and he thinks the Partridge Family is a big bunch of rock stars. So
Harry Morgan.
Yes, Harry Morgan. Thank you.
Yes.
We're trying to prove that he can bend over. So I have this really beautiful idea that Farrah Fawcett, who's just a girl walking down the street, and I offer $20 for this, that when he comes walking up, she should drop a basket and he'll bend over and pick it up, which he does. And I take the picture. When we get home, it's a picture of Farrah Fawcett's ass and nothing else. And Shirley looks at it and says, well, my boy is becoming a man. So one of my first days in show business, I'm taking pictures of Farrah Fawcett's ass. Not bad. What'd you do when you were 10?
And Rob Reiner, I remember, was also,
Rob Reiner played Snake.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What was the take on Ricky Siegel? Remember? So he was like the Oliver of the Brady Bunch, which
Absolutely.
So let's consolidate a couple of questions then. Was there like a Brady Bunch, like, was it like a competitive thing? I don't remember that between two shows.
Not as much then as after that, when we start showing up places. And then Greg Brady, what the hell's his name? A friend of mine.
Barry Williams.
He does celebrity boxing with me.
Wow.
And I said, you're probably not, because I fought Donny Osmond and barely we eked out a win. If you can't kill Donny Osmond, I remember I walk out and I'm just beating him to death. I mean, it's really, I'm actually getting a little nervous for him. And then I
remember thinking they have to stop this fight while watching that one. I remember that. Yes.
And all of a sudden I stop because I need air, and Donny Osmond goes like this. And he's ready to go. I'm out of air. Oh, because I was drunk going into the ring. I had a cigarette in my mouth with boxing gloves on. I had a ring girl that would take the cigarette in and out of my mouth and give me shots of tequila. So it's not like I took it that seriously. But after that, I trained really, really hard. So I'm fighting Greg Brady, and I tell him, I don't know if this is a good idea for you. And he goes, can you take it easy? And I said, I'll do my very best. We go into the ring, and there's cameras. It's a big deal, man. It's a Fox special. And so I try and take it easy. I'm just moving around. Now, Barry's about 6 feet tall, 200 pounds easy, and I'm 5'6". And at that time, probably weighed about 152. And so I'm doing it. He's not getting hurt and everything's great. But then the audience starts to boo. And as any entertainer will tell you, when the booing starts, something else has to happen. So I just, boom, and down he goes. And he goes down hard. And they pick him up. And this is weird because it's not a real sanctioned fight. They just put him in the corner until he's okay again and throw him back in, and boom, down he goes again. I fell like 8 times or something. He's a buddy of mine, but I can't be booed. Are you kidding me? And can't have my ass kicked by a Brady, no matter what. Come hell or high water, that's not happening. So the poor guy, we've actually made friends. We even did a terrible, terrible movie called Bigfoot together. And I ended up being dead because of a military missile attack took to kill me. Thank you.
Yeah, that film was a lot like actual Bigfoot. It still hasn't been seen. But
did you write that joke all by yourself?
I didn't. I got my ass kicked by Marie Osmond. But that's
also quality, man.
No, I was wondering about the Ricky Siegel thing because I was.
Oh, right. Good. So he was fine. He was the cute kid. We all knew it was the cousin Oliver thing. But if you look when he sings, I actually play guitar. David does not. And David just would not accompany the kid. And I guess, when you're a big star and you've sold 1 million records, you don't have to play for the 6-year-old. So I play the guitar for Ricky Siegel. Nice guy. I think he ended up a minister. I'm not positive, but I think he ended up actually a minister for the time.
Yeah. Good for him. I liked him. He was a cute little kid. He lived around the corner from us in Van Nuys. I don't know if you remember that. He had these hippie parents, right?
Yeah. Oh, I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I had brain surgery, man. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, we wanted to ask about that. Yeah.
This. I don't know if you can see this or not. There's a big shunt in my forehead that they put in, and it goes around the back, all the way down my stomach and then I pee out the water that was on my brain, apparently.
Glad you're here, man.
We were going to ask about the celebrity boxing, but can we talk about the Jonny Fairplay incident? What happened?
That was a bad day to be Jonny Fairplay. I was getting some award for best reality show for Breaking Bonaduce, which to this day is I'm just so ashamed of my behavior. I was just so drunk the whole time and trying to keep up with this wild character and getting weirder and weirder every day. So I was getting some award at some thing in Hollywood, and I'm sitting there, and Jonny Fairplay goes up to say something. I don't remember what, but he is, for those of you that don't know, he's the guy on Survivor very early in the show that claimed his grandmother died and how he's doing this great thing. He wants to go home and be there for his funeral, but he's going to stick with the show. And everybody found out it was all bullshit, that he didn't, his grandmother was fine and living in Jersey or something.
If he wasn't bad enough, then comes this dead grandmother lie, a move so low and so evil, it definitely guaranteed John a spot in the Survivor Villain Hall of Fame.
So I'm sitting there waiting to get my award, and I don't know why he's up on stage. He's giving an award, getting an award. They're throwing him around like candy. And all of a sudden, everybody starts to boo. And I'm fairly drunk, if my memory serves, and, you know, history says. So they're booing, and I get up on stage, and I look at him. He's got the microphone, and I say fairly loudly, not good show business, with my back to the crowds, I said, they're booing because we all hate you. And he laughed and then jumped up in the air and wrapped his legs around my waist and his hands around my neck and started gyrating and being all weird. And I didn't know what was happening. So I went to throw him off of me at the same moment that he went to pull down on me and do this weird thing. And he went flying and all his teeth came out. And he didn't protect himself at all. He just landed face first. And I didn't know how bad he was hurt at first. And then people started kind of screaming because there was a lot of blood.
Oh, Danny.
In either one. Now he's on Danny, and Danny is forced to react in some way. Does he stand there and hold him? Does he feel like he can hold this guy's weight? It is now upon Danny to say, now I would be like Danny if it was a man.
I got to protect the guy who jumped on me.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would go,
but that's what Fred's saying.
I'm getting this guy off of me. And he took he should be allowed to take him and throw him out a window at that point.
Well,
you cannot jump up on him.
No, shouldn't that way.
And so he sued me for $10 million. And we get to arbitration. We're going to work this out, apparently, me and his lawyer and my lawyer and whoever. And things are going on, and we're not caving, but we're saying, you know, $5,000, not $10 million. And he starts to irk me again. And I said, listen, man, you shouldn't have jumped on me. I hate what you did. I'm sorry you got hurt, but I'm not going to pay you a dime. And I walked out. And while I was gone, he caved, and I didn't end up paying him. And here's where things get icky. I picked up one of his teeth, had it drilled through and made into a necklace, which I wore every day for the next 10 years. And it was a big tooth, man. And people would always ask me about it. I go, that's Jonny Fairplay's tooth. He fucked with me and I knocked all his teeth out. So, but basically it was an accident, kind of.
But that's what I remember, him just being annoying. That's what I always remembered from that incident. I watched that one.
I actually still have that tooth somewhere. I took it off for some reason because I really liked wearing it. And I liked the conversation that started, but I was told, I think probably by my wife, it's time to put the tooth away.
I have no idea why. I knew nothing about the story you guys just talked about. I don't know why. And I remember a lot of, you know, the fights at Barry Williams and all. And I would watch you because I knew you and I'd follow you. I never heard about that, but that's fascinating. Celebrity wrestling with Hulk Hogan, celebrity wrestling.
Now I'm going to come out so weird. I don't think of myself as that weird. Yes, we did the Hulk Hogan wrestling, and it's has-beens on parade. It's me and it's Brady.
Hey, time out. My girlfriend was on that. How about just like, you know, hotties on parade? Because
I like the alliteration, hotties and has-beens. So she's the hottie, I'm the has-been. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we do the first wrestling thing, and I do not care for the kid that played
Screech.
The Bell. Screech, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care for him.
He passed away,
ugly. But I will tell you this, he was a real wrestling fan, and he actually took, from that day on, I had a great respect for him. But anyway, so we do the first wrestling thing. Now, they come up with a character for you, and I came up with my own character. I'm wearing a black trench coat, little sunglasses, and I'm jacked up on steroids at this time. I'm a monster. And so we do the break, and they film some shots about who's going to win that round. We all come back out, the hotties and has-beens, and we're all lined up, and he's going to say who won. And I'm wearing my sunglasses or my glasses, and blood starts to trickle out from under my glass and down my cheek. And so we do the whole scene, and everybody talks stuff. And when the scene is over, although he kept rolling, Hulk Hogan goes, "Hey, Bonaduce, that blood you got on your face, did you do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "How?" And I said, "A nail I found in the dressing room, and I just used it to open up my eyebrow." And Hulk Hogan looks at me and goes, "You have missed your calling." I thought, what a great compliment. Hulk Hogan tells me, after being an icon, saying I've missed my calling because I should have been a pro wrestler. But I will say, boys and girls listening, don't cut your eyelid open for attention. It's not a good look. I did a thing called a swanton. Now, most of us are trying to learn how to get out of a headlock or put you in a headlock. I climb up to the third rope and do a front flip onto the man on the canvas, and it works perfectly. I really like the show. The thing I didn't like about that show was who's that tall basketball player that was crazy on that show?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. I got tricked into doing that show. I was on the air in LA, and I'm talking, I don't know how this worked out. Maybe it was the day before, but Carmen Electra came up, and I said, that is the hottest woman I would never sleep with. And somebody said, why? And I said, because she had sex with Dennis Rodman. Who wants to follow that? It's creepy. The next day, the phone rang, the celebrity hotline. So somebody has that number, and it's Dennis Rodman. And he says, do you have a problem with me? And it's a radio bit. Yeah, I'm talking real tough to a 7-foot tall professional athlete, but I'm talking tough. And he says, if you want, I'll come down there right now, and I'll never forget it. I'll beat the white right off you, which I thought was an exceptional tough guy thing to say. So I said, okay, let's meet on the corner. And he says, no, we're going to do this. And the next thing I know, he's a friend of Hulk Hogan's, and I end up in the wrestling show with him. But never once do I wrestle him because I wasn't going to play nice. I had picked a fight with this guy months ago. He backed out. Now he's sitting there in wrestling clothes and wants to fight in the ring. I will knock you down, big man. But they never let me anywhere near him. And then the steroids wore off, and I thought, oh, he'd kill me now. But I'm having a better day than he is. Look where I am right now with Moosie Drier and children. I'm not kidding around, man.
Another Partridge Family thing that I did want to ask about. You and David Cassidy stole the bus?
Yeah, real story. A great story, too. We're doing, I think it's the first season. So we were the #1 show in America. And I Think I Love You is the #1 song.
Hey, I think I love you. So what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of. A love there is no cure for.
So we don't just have fans. We have maniacs. We have people screaming out of trees, hiding in closets and stuff like that. And that has nothing to do with the setup for the story. But so we're doing a story where I'm supposed to say my line, and then we pull forward in the Partridge Family bus, but you only pull forward 3 or 4 feet, and then we push it back and do the scene again. So I kept, according to David, I'm not sure this is true, but I kept screwing up my lines accidentally, certainly not on purpose. And all of a sudden, we go forward, and he doesn't stop. And he just keeps going. He goes out of the gate. There's people at the gate. They're screaming because the Partridge Family bus, driven by David Cassidy, the biggest star in the world at that point, is driving down the street. And we go over by Hem Boulevard, turn left on Highland, and we get to Hollywood and Highland. We're caught at a red light, and people get out of their cars and start walking up the bus and yelling and cheering and stuff. Then all of a sudden, helicopters show up, motorcycles, cops show up, and they guide us out of here. And they went to yell at David, which they realized, oh, that's probably not that great idea. So they turned and yelled at me. I still don't know. I was 10. I don't know how to drive a bus, for God's sakes. But yeah, we stole the bus. Cops showed up, helicopters, ambulances. It was mayhem.
I also wanted to ask about, doing Partridge Family, like reunion things there too. Do you still keep in contact with Shirley Jones at all? Do you still speak to her ever?
I see her rarely, but I'd still be calling. But she's 92 right now. And she still looks good, but I haven't spoken to her in a while. I spoke to her son. I talked to Sean Cassidy relatively often, and apparently she's doing just great, but she's fully retired.
And Susan Day wants nothing to do with it still? Is that the case?
I do, but I don't think it's like it was. I thought it was like a real bad thing of bad memories. It's just not her thing. She just doesn't want to be famous. She wants nothing. She has a normal job in upstate New York. But I always thought, you want nothing to do with it. Why? It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Why? But it's just not her thing. No. Like, I really liked being famous. And matter of fact, my wife and I have a joke, a little thing we say to each other. If somebody in a restaurant or whatever thing comes up and goes, hey, aren't you Danny Bonaduce? We say, yeah. When they go, I say, famous at In-N-Out. So wherever it is, I pick that moment to go, see, still the icon you married.
I want to back up. Susan Day's doing what? What does she do now?
I'm not exactly sure. An environmental, regular job with an office.
But kind of like,
I don't know if she still does it. She's got to be 73 or 4.
Yeah. What was it? LA Law. What does she do, Jonathan?
She did LA Law.
Yeah. I feel like she's one of those people like perhaps like Christy McNichol or somebody who could be working right now on some show or whatever, but they went, you know what? I'm just gonna I don't. It's not for me anymore. You know,
You
remember.
see Christy McNichol? Do you know her?
I have, yeah. I've seen her.
If you ever bump into her again, let her know that one of my cats is named Kitty McNichols in her honor.
I will.
I'm a big fan of her.
Great actor. She was a
Yeah,
great actor.
She was great, but it wasn't for her.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. Like people actually make a people dream of being a successful actor and then being famous or whatever they want, and they never make it. These are people already have it and go, you know what? I'm going to go over here now. Good on them. You know,
People like me just dig me. I swear, no offense, Jonathan, but I'd come there and shoot you right in the chest if it would make me famous again.
Yeah, if you get on the news or get on a reality show, yeah.
Although I've done all those things, at the end of the day, it's not that positive an experience.
If you go for the shoulder, I'll agree and say I got shot by Danny Bonaduce.
That is a pro.
We all win. We all win.
Pick the target. We're all famous. So
Too good of a guy. Please don't shoot Jonathan.
I shot his producer. That's what I did.
What would you tell parents, Danny, who have like a 10-year-old or whatever, 8-year-old, they want to put their child into show business today, 2026, not then? What would you tell them right now?
I'm a fan. If the kid's got talent, you should go. You should do it. Here's the only, because I said in more than one occasion, being a child star was awesome. Being an ex-child star just sucked. I would say do it. Make sure they stay with their education, because here's the one thing, because I say I've had no complaints. I actually said to Oprah Winfrey, because that's how I roll. She said, you know, you've done all this and you have done all that. Do you have any regrets? And I looked right at this lady and I said, not a one. And she's talking about my drug use and, you know, getting arrested and stuff. And I said, no, I have no reason at all to not be appreciative. I said, you called me up. I rode first class in a plane, took a limousine to get here. I wouldn't change a thing. And she goes, not a thing. And I said, no, but you might want to look into things. It turns out I can sign your name for stereos in the gift shop. And she laughed thinking I was kidding. And then she got bills. It wasn't really a stereo, but it was champagne and all sorts of stuff. And I said, I don't have a regret. I don't have a single regret in the world. Now I do. There's some things I did that just there's no excuse for that kind of behavior. I was mean to some people. I was a terrible boyfriend. But the big thing I would say is make them prepared. I don't know how to do like somebody said, do your own taxes or turn on your own electric bill or something. I have no idea how any of that is done. Luckily, I marry uphill, so it gets done. But I would say make sure they're prepared for life. But otherwise, I think it's a fine industry as long as there's been a show, there's been a kid in it. So go for it.
That's such a huge part of your longevity. Is maybe you now have some regrets. I don't know, but you were always just like I said when we started talking. You always own it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard a train may have come off the track or not. You're not a liar.
No. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that you appreciate.
You met Elvis, Frank Sinatra. You had Richard Nixon ask for your autograph. Is that something
That's true, but it's been goosed a little bit. He didn't personally ask for me. Somebody came out of, I guess, the Oval Office, I don't know, and said President Nixon would like an autograph for someone coincidentally named Amy. So I said, yes. So Richard Nixon has somewhere in his family tree, there's my autograph. Yeah, all true.
Which celebrity impressed you the most? Because you've met so many people.
Well, in retrospect, it's Elvis, because I wrote a book. It did pretty well. I have some good stories. But when I get to I did a movie with Elvis, everything stops. And that's all anybody wants to know. And here's the part, and it's bad showmanship, because I'm going to tell you, there's a point in this story where you're going to go, well, he's lying. And then I'll bring it back so you'll know I was telling the truth. We're doing this movie with Elvis Presley. He invites me and my mother into his dressing room, and maybe other people too, I don't remember, where all his door handles and cabinets, the handle are all bright gold women's legs, which I found fascinating. My mom found it was so funny. It was really cool. And then after I did the movie, I'm 8 years old, and that's when he gave me a car. Now that's when people started to think, well, you're lying. You're 8. He didn't give you a car. The movie was about a circus and kids in the circus. And there were like 20 kids in it. And he bought all of us these push cars. So we went in like the first day of work. He gave all of us one of these cars. So Elvis Presley did in fact give me a car. Yeah.
What a life we've freaking lived.
We have indeed, my friend.
Yeah. Do you remember? So my mom was a nut, right? I mean,
Remember
a
the
lovable
lady,
nut.
right?
My mom, I'm a mama's boy to this day, and she passed away many years ago. But this is the craziest thing that, I could think of. We had a bring your pet to school day. And when I was working, I was in public school over there in the house that you
Yes.
and I lived at. And my mom sent me to school with two full-size human beings in professional Planet of the Apes makeup.
I remember this. I forgot about it till this very moment. Didn't we go trick or treating with some of those guys?
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
Isn't that like who has those experiences except for former child actors? It's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: did you have a good time? Was it fun being Moosie Drier, Kid News for Kids, and all the other things you did?
Absolutely, I'd go back and do it again, even though I know I'd
If you want to get in line, we can both shoot Jonathan.
No. Let's make the news another way. Jonathan's
Two former child stars shoot producer.
Just for a headline.
But the producer was in on it. We both shot him in the shoulders. We're not bad shots. We're friendly.
Right.
I've done some pretty cool stuff in the world of show business. I'm doing the Moosie Drier and Jonathan podcast. And it's pretty cool. It's not often I get to ask another guy, so what did you think about being famous as a kid? It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a small club as far as the being famous at that time where we were youngsters. For the moment, you're my favorite guest. Tomorrow's somebody else. Tomorrow's someone else. But
today, I've got it today.
Today, you are the man. Your mom, I loved your mom very much. Yeah.
And I remember your mom, Betty, right?
Yeah, they're both named Betty.
I remember her as well. I remember your sister Dee Dee. Fun days, like when you think back about going trick or treating with the guys from Planet of the Apes, man. I think the real Roddy McDowell was there at your house. Wasn't
No,
he?
but it was Cornelius and Zira were the characters of I don't know why I remember that of Planet of the Apes. It was a male and a female. In real life, they were a couple.
Oh,
and they were like the doubles. They were actually working on these movies, and they were, whatever they looked exactly like Roddy McDowell and Kim Hunter, but somehow we knew them, and they just came. They came with like, take your pet to class day, and the kids. It was in third grade. I was at Bassett Street Elementary School in Van Nuys, and I swear I think somebody peed their pants. Like it was crazy, like the real. Because you're at that age where you don't even really know for sure if real or movie making kind of deal.
But back to the club that you and I are in. Who else gets to do that? I thought Greg Brady. You took the apes from Planet of the Apes to school. It's a club. I am thrilled to be in.
Yeah, good on you, man. Hey, you're like the ambassador for the rest of us.
I'm doing all right, my friend.
So you guys had professional Planet of the Apes costumes, and I had one of those little pull-on things with the rubber band attached. All right, so we live the same lives, basically.
If you ever want me on again, just give a call.
I want to thank you so much. Seriously, I'm a lifelong fan, and that's genuinely sincere. And I'm going to impose on you that if Moosie gets annoyed with me, I'm sorry, but I'm going to impose on you one thing. Can you give a shout-out to Maya, because she's my daughter, huge
Maya?
fan.
Is that your daughter? How old?
Bring her in. Is she there with you, Jonathan? Bring her in. Say hello.
Yeah, she's in class now.
Okay.
How old is she?
She's 20, but you did a Sweet
20.
16 cameo for her, and that was one of her favorite things.
Well, Maya, correct?
Yes.
Hey, Maya, you might remember me. I'm Danny Bonaduce. I did a cameo for you when you were 16 years old. Apparently, you've made good on yourself, and you're still going to class, and I'm sitting here stuck with your dad. What's that about? Yeah, Maya.
Thank you so much.
Oh shit! What do we owe you? Now we have to pay you. We have to Venmo you for that.
Yes, but thank
I love you, my old
sign
friend. Thank you, brother, and thank Amy for helping out. Set this up.
Okay, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Moosie Drier. Again, a very special thanks to Danny Bonaduce, and please like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast. Listening to this podcast just makes you really cool.